Hey, baby, how you doing? Thank you, Crystal. Warm greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans on this Wednesday evening. Amen. I want to thank you all for joining me. I want to thank my first mod on board, Miss Crystal Moore. Amen. Tonight I will be discussing the third day trial of Derek Chauvin, who has been accused of murdering George Floyd. And this trial is taking place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I want to give my condolences to the family of George Floyd, his children, and that community, and anybody who knows what it is like to be an African American living in this United States of America. Amen. I will be bringing you said commentary, and I will bring you a source for every piece of information. And after those sources, I will give my commentary on the trial and what took place in that courtroom in Minneapolis today, and how I feel about the said information and the case trial of Derek Chauvin. I was saying Chauvin, but they said Chauvin, so we'll go with that. We're going to ride with it this evening. We're going to bring the spoken word and seeking justice for George Floyd. Amen. Thank you, Nana. I appreciate it. Please, everybody be on their best behavior. It's all got me perspiring up here. Thank you all so much. 25 viewing, amen. Thank you all so much. And thank you for those who tuned into Mr. Omno Thanks, Doug Hutton's channel. And Queen gave a little commentary this evening. I want to thank him for the invite. And thank you, Mr. Benny, for joining us. And those of you who chimed in and were respectful of the chat and the host of the program. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Wesley. I didn't mean to ignore you, honey. You know, Queen kind of zones out. Hello, how's everybody doing? Thank you for joining me. I'm going to try to keep this live very dignified. And if I lose my composure, just pray for me, because today was a very emotional day. What little I watched of the trial, I didn't watch all of the first young man who testified, the African-American guy who was the clerk that day, that fateful day in May 2020. But I will bring you synopsis of what took place if you didn't watch the trial. That way you can get a gist of what took place in that courtroom in Minneapolis. And I thank you all for joining me. And please be respectful in the chat to the hostess and the mods and the other members of the chat. If you cannot be respectful, please remove yourself as I speak right now, because this is a serious topic. And we are now talking about a deceased man. Yes, please bring your best behavior. No profanity in the chat. You all know how to talk without cursing. I slip up every now and again, but I can't have it in the chat or on the panel. You will get a chance to come up on the panel and give your commentary, but know that you have to be respectful in whatever you have to say. Yay or nay. I'll let anyone speak. I want to get started because it's a lot I have to bring you. Thanks for joining me. Ooh, God, give me strength. NPR is the first source. Cashier say he offered to pay after realizing Floyd's $20 bill was fake. The store clerk who accepted a $20 bill from George Floyd shortly before Floyd died in a confrontation with police says he immediately suspected the bill was counterfeit, and he says he offered to pay for Floyd's cigarettes himself. I thought that George didn't really know that it was a fake bill. Christopher Martin testified Wednesday about taking the $20 bill, so I thought I'd be doing him a favor. But he later had second thoughts. Martin told the jury in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who was facing murder charges over Floyd's killing. Martin eventually told his manager about the situation, and after Floyd refused to return to the Cup food store to talk to the manager, the police were called. The encounter that then transpired ended when Floyd died in police custody on the street outside the store. In court, Martin said he felt disbelief and guilt as he watched Floyd being placed on a gurney. Surveillance video shows Martin clasping his hands on top of his head as he looked on from the sidewalk. When asked what he was thinking at the time, he replied, "If I would have just not took the bill, this could have been avoided." Before the police were called, Martin and his co-workers made 2 trips to the SUV that Floyd was sitting in outside Cup Foods, trying to get him to come back to the store. Martin said he recalled telling Floyd and his friends that the bill Floyd had just used was fake and that his boss wanted to talk to him. But Floyd and the other occupants, a man and a woman, refused to return to the store. He added, after the first attempt, Martin went back to his manager. "I offered to pay, but he said, no, just tell them to come back inside," Martin told the jury. After Floyd and his friends again refused to return to the store, Martin testified his manager told another co-worker to call the police. At the time of the tragic events of last Memorial Day, Martin, 19, was both working at Cups Foods and living above the store, sharing an apartment with his mother and sister. He usually worked in the afternoons and evenings, he told Assistant Attorney General Matthew Frank. Martin was working at the store counter when he noticed Floyd walk in May 25th. He didn't know the man, but he remarked on Floyd's physique. Martin asked him if he played baseball, and Floyd replied that he played football, he recalled. Describing their conversation, Martin said that when Floyd spoke, he rambled a bit, making it appear that he was high, he said. But Martin also said he was able to understand Floyd. In Martin's telling, Floyd spent some time near the store's phone sales and service area. It seemed that he wanted some work done on his cell phone, Martin said. Floyd spent just over 10 minutes inside Cup Foods, according to surveillance footage played in court Wednesday. The recording depicts Floyd walking around and talking with people, moving through the aisles at times. He bounces up on his toes, showing jurors his previously unseen view of the man whose death soon afterward would spark widespread protests against police brutality and racial inequality. At the end of the visit, Martin sold Floyd a pack of cigarettes, The video shows Martin hold the $20 bill he had just received up to the light as Floyd stood in front of him. "When I saw the bill, I noticed that he had a blue pigment to it, kind of how a $100 bill will have," Martin said, "and I found that odd, so I assumed that it was fake." Earlier that day, Martin had refused to accept a similar bill from a man who was with Floyd. Later, that man would show the bill to Martin and his co-workers outside and tear the bill in half as he tossed it to the ground. The transaction with Floyd went ahead and Floyd left the store, but Martin kept looking at the bill, he said. In court, he explained that at the time, store policy mandated that if a cashier accepts any bogus money, you have to pay for it out of your money or your paycheck. Martin said that he initially thought he would put the transaction on his own tab, but he then had second thoughts and decided to tell his manager. The manager told him to walk outside to Floyd's vehicle and tell him to come inside. The SUV Floyd had arrived in was clearly visible across the street, he said. Martin went outside twice, he said, initially with one other person and then with 2 older co-workers. But they couldn't convince Floyd to come back inside to talk to the manager. Martin recalls that Floyd, who was in the driver's seat, didn't say much and kept shaking his head. The initial conversation with Floyd and others in the car wasn't in any way, shape, or form aggressive, Martin told Chauvin's attorney, Eric Nelson. Nelson then asked Martin to confirm he had testified Floyd was not really speaking to you as he sat in the SUV, a point on which Martin agreed. Earlier, he had described Floyd as having an attitude of, in Martin's words, "Why is this happening?" Martin agreed with Nelson's assertion that the second conversation was more heated. But in the prosecution's follow-up questions, Martin later clarified that the description applied more to his co-worker than to the vehicle's occupants. Frank, the assistant attorney general, asked Martin to describe Floyd's demeanor when they spoke inside the store. "He seemed very friendly, approachable," Martin said. "He was talkative. He seemed to just be having an average Memorial Day, just living his life," he said, adding, "but he did seem high." At one point, Martin noted that Floyd seemed to be struggling to form words. But Frank noted, and Martin agreed, that despite Floyd's movements in the store, including several stretches, he never lost his balance or fell. During Nelson's follow-up questioning, he reminded Martin that he had earlier told investigators that the location of the Cup Foods was a hot block. When asked what that means, he replied, situations happen. After police arrived, they did not enter the store, but the commotion in the street drew Martin and some of his coworkers outside of Cups Foods, he said. One coworker grew upset as he watched it, and his friends restrained him and took him back inside, Martin recalled. After seeing Chauvin holding Floyd on the ground with his knee, Martin said he immediately used his phone to call his mother, who was upstairs, and told her not to come downstairs. Martin then began recording the scene on his cell phone's camera as police pinned Floyd face down on the asphalt. But he said he deleted the video that night after the ambulance that picked up Floyd had headed away from the hospital. At that point, he said he realized that Floyd was dead. Martin quit his job at Cup Foods after Floyd's death. I didn't feel safe, he said in court. That is the testimony of the cashier, Christopher Martin, who worked at Cups Food at that time in May of 2020. And if you need a verification for the storyline, npr.org is the source. The second source will be the second person who testified in court. Also, an African-American man, an older man. If you need verification for this source, BuzzFeed News is the source. A 61-year-old man broke down in court after watching a video of himself telling George Floyd to comply with police. Prosecutors also played a new video revealing an interaction between Derek Chauvin and Charles McMillan, a bystander, after George Floyd was taken away in an ambulance. Charles McMillan, a 61-year-old black man, broke down in court after watching a video of himself witnessing George Floyd yelling, "I can't breathe." and calling for his mother during his arrest in last May. Excuse me. McMillan sobbed while testifying for the prosecution. During former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's murder trial on Wednesday, prompting the judge to call for a 10-minute break. Excuse me. The emotional moment in court took place when the prosecution played a video of McMillan pleading with Floyd to comply with the police officers and to get in the squad car. The video was juxtaposed with body camera footage showing Floyd handcuffed and struggling with the officers while yelling that he couldn't breathe. On the video, McMillan is heard repeatedly telling Floyd to get up off the ground and get in the police vehicle, saying, "You can't win, man." When asked what he meant, McMillan told the court, "Once the cops own you, you can't win. Just cooperate, get in the car, go with them, and you can win." McMillan testified that he heard Floyd telling him, "I can't." Prosecutors also played a new video revealing an interaction between Chauvin and McMillan after Floyd was taken away in an ambulance. During that conversation, McMillan recalled he told Chauvin he took issue with what he had done to Floyd. Excuse me. Chauvin can be heard on the video telling McMillan, "That's one person's opinion. We got to control this guy because he's a sizable guy. Looks like he's probably on something." Chauvin's defense attorney, Eric Nelson, has previously talked about Floyd's size in comparison to Chauvin's and has focused on his use of drugs at the time of the arrest. Several bystanders, including 3 teenagers and an off-duty firefighter who witnessed Floyd's arrest, have been overcome with emotion while testifying, in court over the past 2 days. Some have talked about feeling guilty and helpless for not being able to help Floyd and prevent his death. Nelson has characterized the bystanders as an angry crowd and a growing threat to the officers, distracting them while they restrained Floyd. McMillan said on the day of the incident, he pulled his car over and got out to watch the interaction between Floyd and the police because he was being nosy. He said that based on his own previous interactions with police officers, he was trying to get Floyd to understand that once he was arrested, you can't win, you're done. McMillan testified that at one point he told the officers, "Man, let off for him. He can't breathe." He recalled one of them responding, "He keeps talking. He can breathe." He told the court that he knew Floyd was in trouble when the ambulance arrived. "I knew that in my mind it was over for Mr. Floyd," McMillan said. He was dead. And indeed he was. BuzzFeed News. Excuse me, it's the source. Mercy. Thank you. I will say that when I watched that video today, I was disgusted, just disgusted beyond belief. And watching this man alongside his officers who never let up once was vile and disgusting. Because no matter the bill, whatever they thought was wrong with the bill, all of this could have been avoided. In my mind. And I will start with my commentary. And it will be a bit winded probably because there were so many things that took place allegedly. And I'm going to go over everything pertaining to the death of George Floyd. Was the bill fake or not? Because now we hear you say, Mr. Martin, that it looked fake. But why didn't you have a marker to verify if it was fake or not? Or was it verified? I don't know. Now we hear that one man who was with Floyd this second round in the car came in earlier. Or was it the same guy? Which is it? The one that was in the video that we see? Was that the same guy that came in earlier with the same with a bill? Was it the same bill? Which is it? Can't be the same bill because now we hear that the guy says that guy tore the bill up the car. See, it's a lot of new stuff we're now learning. Why didn't George Floyd leave that area? Because if I don't believe that everything took place as that young guy said in this article, why was George still in the car? I'm confused. Why did you stay in the car? Why did the clerk call the police when he realized after 2 attempts, George wouldn't come in the store? If you were so adamant that the bill was fake, you proved it was fake, then you should have called 911 if that is your policy. What is your policy as far as calling on a citizen with a fake counterfeit money? We now learned that he kept the money because I was wondering if Mr. Floyd had kept the bill. And I never could understand how the police were able to get him right Johnny on the spot after passing the bill. Now we realize he was still sitting in that car after passing the bill. Why? Because we also see 2 occupants in the car, which led me to believe they were already in the car when George walked back to the car after passing the alleged fake bill. Has George Floyd frequent that store often? Because one would have to ask themselves, why would anyone pass money in a store that they frequent? Why in the world would you give money, fake money, in a place you go often? So did George Floyd frequent this store? Had he been there before? Do they know George Floyd from coming in the store? Why were 2 other cohorts not treated the same way? If now you're telling us in this testimony that somebody that was with Floyd earlier tried to pass the bill. Is that the same guy that was in the car that we see on video surveillance of the actual arrest? The second guy in the car gets a pass. No gun was drawn on him, just a flashlight. Why? He said he was in there buying a laptop, getting something working. It wasn't working. and that this car that they were in was a friend of George Floyd. So we now learn that the car did not belong to Mr. Floyd. The officer that shows up to the car, the driver's side, has a gun drawn. Why would you have a gun drawn for a $20 fake bill, allegedly? I'm confused. Yes, good point. 61 viewing. Why do you pull a gun out and raise it up to the window for a $20 fake bill, officer? When you pulled George out of the car after you did your little Rango Tango, George didn't want to get out. He was talking to himself, whatever. You had him on the wall, but you lied to George Floyd because you said, we're going to go talk over there. Well, what's over there? Oh, the other police car, the infamous SUV. Well, you were talking right here when he was on the wall and he was telling you he had been shot, rambling on and on. He was quiet. He didn't evade arrest. He didn't run, didn't kick, didn't spit. But he knew it wasn't going to go well because he knew they were going to take him to jail when they made him get up. The elderly man breaks down on the stand, describing what he saw that day, last May. The breakdown was so terrible that the judge ordered a 15-minute break so he could compose himself. Chauvin never looks at the witness. Why is that? Why is that, Derek? You could not look at this 61-year-old man testify to what he saw that fateful day in May. You really didn't look at too many people now, did you? Because we don't know, because we didn't get an angle from the back of the court to see if you were ever staring at anyone in the courtroom. But we do know you never looked at this witness, and I don't think you looked at the young man who testified, who was the clerk, who took the money from George Floyd. You were writing notes on your paper, your notebook. What were you writing, Derek Chauvin? Because you didn't really seem to engage in the court proceeding. And see, as some of the commentators broke down after court adjourned for the day, commentators were saying, did your attorney not talk to you about etiquette? Thank you, Angie. Thank you. Did your attorney not talk to you about appropriate etiquette in court, that you are to engage in the court? Look at the people in the court. Act like you're concerned about your fate, whether you care or not, whether you have empathy or not. You mean to tell me your attorney didn't tell you to engage? And what were you writing? Were you actually taking notes, or you were doodling because you didn't want to look anyone in the eye because you know that what you did was wrong last May 2020? Did you watch the lieutenant when he testified? Will you testify, Derek Chauvin? Because that's the $1 million question. After interrogating the witness, the 61-year-old, the defense knew they couldn't ask that man nothing else, because once a grown man cries on the witness stand, all is well. Not much you can ask after that. The breakdown said it all. It has been mentioned that the other officers cannot testify in this said trial against Derek Chauvin because they are also being charged with aiding and abetting this murder of George Floyd. Will they throw Chauvin under the bus when it's their turn to testify? That was also asked by the commentators after court adjourned. How do those officers feel now that they are also in the hot seat to stand trial for the murder of George Floyd? Do you feel anything about that day that you sat on the ground, kneed on the ground with Chauvin? Do you feel anything? Do you wish you could go back in time and change May 25th? If you could go back, would you do things differently? Or do you think what Chauvin did to Mr. Floyd was appropriate behavior, appropriate way to ascertain an alleged suspect in a passing of a fake $20 bill? Is this your normal procedure for people that you think are combative? Resisting arrest, some people will say. This is your normal practice? Is this official practice by Minneapolis Police Department in a said manner to detain a suspect or person in question of a crime? Will you throw Derek Chauvin under the bus come August 2021 when it is your turn to stand trial for aiding and abetting the murder of George Floyd? It is also said that the lawyers for that trial in August will be watching everything that's been said in this trial by the witnesses. So we have to pray that the witnesses will not deviate from what they said yesterday and today, and therefore after. Because you see, if you forget anything, you add anything come August, it can help get those monkeys off. Please remember your words and everything that you said. And God, please don't deviate come August 2021. Amen. If Chauvin is found guilty of manslaughter, a lesser charge, and this is something some of you may not know, the other officers can't be charged with aiding and abetting on the said charges of manslaughter. Did you know that? I did not. And I learned that today when the commentators were breaking down the case. So if these 12 people find Chauvin of a lesser charge, such as manslaughter, is null and void for the mother monkeys to do time. Just so you know. I am praying that Chauvin is charged with all 3 charges in the said murder of George Floyd, and that these other cops go down alongside him. They do not get off, period. Why did the cops put George Floyd in that car the way they did? You knew he was too damn big for that SUV. And I got a second look at how it was made in the back. There's no way he could fit in there comfortably. But then the flip side of that is, oh, well, he's going to jail. Too bad. It's just the way it is. Why didn't you lock the door? You see, George Floyd would have never been able to scoot himself if I don't believe he was scooting himself, because you really have to pay attention to the footage to ascertain if you think he was pushing himself out or he slid across the seat, because there's a covering of the seat, patent leather, whatever you want to call it, fake leather. So you see, he couldn't have slid nowhere had you locked the door on the other side, but you did not. Why not? I thought you were detaining a suspect. So I've never known doors to not be locked in detaining a suspect. I'll wait. He told you then he couldn't breathe before he could get in the car. He sat in the car, barely hanging out, feet to the ground. He told you he couldn't breathe then. But you continue pushing him inside of there. And you didn't really care how you put him in there. And you saw he couldn't fit in a standard position, which is upright, such as how I'm sitting down. You knew his legs could never have fit properly in that said vehicle. Why didn't you call for a paddy wagon? But as they say, some will argue, oh well, tough. Why not attempt to make him comfortable? Why couldn't you have done that? Paddy wagons weren't working May 25th. So with all this shoveling and wrangling, he slides to the other side to where he made his way out of the car. They go around the other side of the car, pull him out. Or basically, first try to put him in, push him back in. Once again, as I said, had you locked the door, Floyd would have been inside. Now, he would have been in an uncomfortable position, which many called it the hog-tied position, because his hands were handcuffed behind his back. Why not handcuff his hands to the front? You know he's a big guy. He stood 6'4". So you knew he wouldn't be comfortable getting in that little bitty ass SUV anyway. But the flip side, they'll say, who cares? That was his choice to be detained. So all that wrangling inside that car, y'all doing the Hollywood shuffle inside that car of George Floyd. He is now outside of the car. And you take him to the ground. Why did you take him to the ground? Because you see, this is where you messed up. You had no business letting it get to that point. What you should have told him is, dude, you're going to have to calm down. We will tase you. Why didn't you tase him? You see, you had a lot of options that day, but you refused to use those options. You wanted to play Hollywood shuffle inside of the backseat of a damn small SUV with a big old man. Because had you locked the door, as I said, he could have been on his way to the jail. Whether he wanted to get in the car, it's obvious. George Floyd was claustrophobic. He made that known during his commentary. But you didn't care. I'm pushing in here anyway. But he couldn't fit. That's why he just slid on across the seat. And he would have never slid out the door had you locked the door. So that was your fault. Officer, sirs, plural. You did that. You did that. And instead of letting him stand up and say, look, we don't have time for this. We're going to put you in this car. You are going to sit in this car, sir. If you don't stop, we will tase you. We don't want to tase you, but this is getting out of control. That's all you have to say. Because, see, you already lied when he was already on the wall across the street and you said, we're going to go over here and talk to you. You didn't talk to him because George Floyd did not want to get in that damn car, and rightfully so. Who wants to go to jail? So I get it. And when you talk about resisting arrest, he just didn't want to get in. He didn't kick you. He didn't run. He didn't put you in a headlock. He didn't elbow you. So what do you call resisting arrest? Because I've seen people who resisted, and by no means, George Floyd not wanting to get in a car is what I consider resisting. I've seen folks whoop a cop's ass on sight. On sight. Run, kick, spit, fight, grab the gun, go for the taser. He did none of those things. He just didn't want to get in the car. I get it. And I understand time is of the essence. But had you locked the door, George Floyd would have never been able to slide out of the other side of the car. And you all would have had to go to the other side to try to push him back in, which led to this shuffling, to then taking him back outside, which led to his death. All that was a waste of time and taxpayers' money and an innocent death of a grown man. Three of you are on top of this man, complicit in the murder of George Floyd. Chauvin, you didn't even blink when you had your knee to Mr. Floyd's neck. And he begged and he begged and he begged. And he called for his mama. And he was holding a conversation with the man on the street who would later testify in this court hearing today. Chauvin, with your smart ass, what did you tell him? You talking, he talking. But that don't mean that airway wasn't getting cut off. So what's your point? He dead now. And a dead man don't tell no tales, they say. And the man is going back and forth with George, which was really starting to piss me off, telling George to get up. How the hell could he get up? Because if he could get up, he would have gotten up. He surrendered because he didn't have a choice. So you trying to talk to him, sir, was a waste of time and annoying as hell. Just saying. I can't breathe. Calling for his mama. And I do believe during all this shuffling, George Floyd said to somebody, you know me, I could have sworn I heard him say that. Chauvin, was he talking to you? Because, you know, that was ascertained last year when all this jumped out, that you knew Floyd, or you knew of him, rather. You worked at the same Hispanic restaurant / bar, dance hall. So we're going to go there now. Chauvin, did you know Floyd or you didn't? Yeah. The world, plus those people on that sidewalk, watched George Floyd die on camera. And there's no way you can dance around what was shown in court today unless you're an utter buffoon and empty vessel and possibly racist. Chauvin, how do you feel now that you lie and you're sitting in that courtroom and looking mighty chunky to the queen? Yeah, you was borderline a Teletubby now, but you've been afforded the opportunity to walk free with a bond bail and you get to eat. But how do you feel about standing trial for the murder of the black man that you need to the neck with no feeling? You didn't flinch. And that's what bothers me the most, is watching you on that camera today. You didn't even flinch. You didn't stretch. You didn't say, I got to get up. Come on, dude, let me get you up. I didn't hear them say, come on, homeboy, let's go. Because, see, Floyd should have never made it back to that damn ground. That's on y'all. There's some chitter chatter about somebody making a comment about going home. I really didn't catch that. I'm going to have to go back in and rewatch what they're talking about. Who y'all talking about? Chauvin making a comment about all we want to do is go home. Well, if you said that, you went home. George Floyd did not. The other officers went home. The people at the store went home. The clerk went home. They say he lived above the store with his mom and his sister. He went home. The people who own the store, run the store, the managers, they went home. The two people in the car with George Floyd, they went home. George Floyd did not go home. So who the hell were you talking about? Yourself. Because you went home. And you didn't give a damn, Derek Chauvin, about George Floyd going home. Because you laid on that man's neck deliberately, knowing the outcome, whether he was on drugs, weed, pills, heroin, coke, crack, meth, doesn't matter. This could have been an avoided altercation. Death. Had you locked the damn door of that SUV. People have gathered on the sidewalk, hollering and screaming. You look at the clock ticking down on the video. You're watching a man die before your eyes as people gather on the sidewalk. They're having an interchange with the police. They say something crazy to one white girl, get back, get back. She's talking crazy with her camera, this and that. The other black guy, he's talking about he not moving, he not moving. Hell, that was already in minute 4. George Floyd wasn't moving. So basically, George Floyd died under 5 minutes. And I'm going to tell you the crazy thing about that made me want to scream. Is when I brought you the case last year about Camille McKinney. 4 minutes was mentioned a lot in my commentary. Because you see, when you Google suffocation, strangulation, and drowning, 4 minutes is the lucky number. The doctor says it takes you 4 minutes before succumbing to death. You're suffocated. Drowning is the worst death because it feels like bricks on top of your chest. And I asked myself, well, doctor, how would you know that? Because a dead man can't tell you what it feels like to drown. Because a dead man or woman never lived to tell you. But that is their synopsis. That drowning is worse than suffocation or strangulation. Either way, I don't ever want to find out neither of those ways to go. Because they all seem a painful way to die when your airway has been cut off by your nose, by your mouth, by drowning, water going into your lungs, somebody puts a bag over your face, somebody's strangling you, or somebody is kneeing you to your neck. Hell no. I don't ever want to find out. Four minutes. Minute 4, George Floyd stopped moving. Somewhere around 4:40. There's no movement. You can see it. You can watch his elbow because you're getting a view from behind by the cams that the police are wearing. George Floyd does not move. And as you see the elbow not moving, watch the clock. You hear the guy on the street saying, he's not moving, he's not moving. Why you still got him down there? He's not moving. You know, it's the witching hour. He's dead. Or if he was alive, he didn't get a chance to be resuscitated. Because you didn't give a damn. And Derek Chauvin, there is footage of you looking over your shoulder with a snarl on your face. And I don't know who you were looking at, but you didn't flinch one time. And that's when I saw the devil himself kneeing George Floyd. You didn't even flinch one time when you need that man to death. And you others were right there on the ground with him. And you didn't blink. And you never offered help. And you never told your comrade to pull him up. All right, this is going on long enough. Pull him up. Let's get him in the car. Sir, are you going to behave so we can put you in the car? Not once. An 8-minute fiasco. And you want to explain to me that you thought, whoever the hell you are out here, that this should have went on for 8 damn minutes plus, sitting up under 9 minutes. This should have gone on. This was appropriate protocol for somebody to stop moving minute 4. And yet you still, Mr. Chauvin, never let up. And your comrades never said, okay, enough. Let's get him up. Sir, are you going to comply? This is taking too long. Nothing. Nothing. The ambulance comes after somebody checks his pulse. Now, this is the interesting part. Somebody reaches down with a glove and khaki pants. Because some of you question that. Then who the hell was them folks? That wasn't the police, was it? That was said last year. Who were those people that came and got them? Because they didn't. Who were those? They weren't the cops. You reach down and you check George Floyd's pulse. And Chauvin, you didn't even move. Still, your damn knee was on that man's neck while George Floyd's pulse was taken. And you still want to tell me you didn't murder George Floyd? You didn't even have the decency to get your ass up when the man checked his pulse. Because you knew what you were doing. Excuse my language. What you say, fuck that nigga. That what you said to yourself? Fuck that nigga. He ain't nobody. He high, he a junkie. The dispatcher testified the other day, and I often wondered if she still has her job. I didn't catch it if she still was working for the Minneapolis Police Department. The word snitch came up. So she's a snitch? Is that how y'all feel about her? Because she's the one that called the sergeant? Because this fiasco was still going on her screen and she's trying to figure out what was going on? I'd like to know, how does she feel right now about the death of George Floyd? Do she feel like she made the right decision in calling a sergeant? Does she feel like the appropriate manner took place in the detainment of George Floyd? Does she feel like Chauvin murdered George Floyd? I'd like to know how she feels. I'd like to know how they have been treating her, if she still has her job, as I said, or she no longer is a dispatcher. What is really going on? Chauvin, are you going to testify? If found innocent, will America uproar? Hell yeah, we will. You know that. When will the profiling and racism stop in this country? 3,000 years on top of this dirt, and man has ceased to change. Everything is still the same. I don't see no change. Nothing going on in this country about the black man and black woman. So many notes I have. Just bear with me, please. All this drama for $20. All this drama for $20. George Floyd walked to his death when he left that street under the guise that they were going to continue to talk to him. That car across the street. And we now know that was a lie. All this talk of disorderly conduct, he was resisting arrest. I could say, yes, he didn't want to get in the car because he said he was claustrophobic. And I could say he gave him a little shuffle getting in the car. I'll say that. But he was paranoid. Said he'd been shot. Even the lady said to the officers when he was on the wall, he had some issues. If you talk to him, you will see that George Floyd had issues. What those issues were, I do not know. All this talk of the drug usage, that he was high that day, he was a drug user, criminal backgrounds. It's a criminal background. But I say, what does that have to do with that day? On that day, he was just a regular guy who allegedly passed a $20 bill. And you didn't know anything about George Floyd until after death. So that's why it didn't matter about what transpired on May 25th before death. And you never, you didn't have proof he got high. He just looked high. And they kept saying, of course, are you on something? Are you on something? They even said something about his mouth, foaming or something. So you want to tell me the drug use, a bad heart, is the reason why George Floyd died May 25th, 2020. You would die either way. Whether you were 120 pounds, 5'8", in good shape, man or woman, child. Someone is kneeing their knee to your neck. You weren't going to make it. Don't give a damn who you are. Tall, short, fat, skinny, black, white, Asian, Jew, Arab, Muslim, Pentecostal, Christian, non-Christian. You were going to die that day because somebody decided that you were not worthy of life, and they put their knee to your neck willingly, willful intent to kill you because you weren't deemed worthy of life. Compression, suffocation by a knee, willful intent. It is said months later that the defense who tried to do some little hanky-panky a couple weeks ago in court to get some evidence admitted in court about drugs found in a car belonging to George Floyd. Well, let me talk to you about that. It is said, when you watch the video, they're patting him down while he's on the ground, going in his pockets. You see anything? See anything? No, I don't see nothing. That's said on camera. So why are we now talking about drugs found in a car and they belong to George Floyd, allegedly been tested? It was in his mouth, dropped in the car of a seat, and belonged to George Floyd. DNA puts the drugs to George Floyd's DNA. But yet this video surveillance cam, dash cam, whatever you want to call it, body cam, you're checking the pockets. You're checking his pockets. We're watching this in court. And you ask, one of your officers, ask the other one, do you see anything? Anything in his pocket? He ain't got nothing in his pocket. Well, where do drugs come from? I'm just saying, where'd they come from? With his DNA. How much paper can you look at on your notebook paper, Derek Chauvin, while you sat in court? You didn't look at nobody. You didn't look at the black man when he testified, the 61-year-old. You didn't look at that young boy, the clerk, who is now no longer a worker at that store. He said he quit after George Floyd's death. I'm sure that's a hell of a burden to carry around. The people on the street carried the burden as well as eyewitnesses. The man who testified, the one who said he was nosy, carries the burden. The man who testified carries the burden. Derek Chauvin, you were devoid of emotion in court today, but that's to be expected because you didn't have any emotion on May 25th, 2020, when you murdered George Floyd on a public street in Minneapolis, Minnesota. You don't give a fuck. You didn't give a fuck then and you don't give a fuck now. And that's why you're sitting in that courtroom staring all off at the damn wall during the breaks, because you never cared. You never cared for anybody. George Floyd died under 5 minutes. It is on the camera. The clock ticks down to a black man's death on a public street outside of a police SUV. And nobody aided him and nobody helped. And what could a bystander do but get their own damn head blowed off, tased, beat up, trying to aid help to a black man who lied helplessly on the ground, crying he could not breathe. I want my mama. I want my mama. Derek Chauvin, you went home that night. George Floyd did not. And you made sure of that. You made sure of that. That's my commentary. Thank you. I'm going to drop the link so you can give your commentary about the murder of George Floyd, May 25th. 2020. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I really appreciate it. And thanks for your patience for listening. Thank you, Jean. Thank you all for joining me. Yes. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Donna. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Yes, it's very horrifying. Yes, no justice, no peace. Thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you all. Thank you for listening. Yes, I was very emotional earlier when I watched Floyd. And let me say this because I left this out of my commentary. When I watched the entire video, I was just sick to my stomach. I literally almost regurgitated. And it just floored me while trying to not get sick to my stomach, watching thereafter them picking him up. And when they put him on that gurney, I got to see a dead man lie on a gurney because of a $20 bill. Fraudulent, fake, alleged $20 bill. And there are no words that can explain watching somebody lie lifeless on a gurney for a $20 bill. And we see people every day get in trouble with the law. And they are murderers, child molesters, rapists, fraudsters, drug dealers, drug users, abusers, grand manipulators, grand hustlers. And they do not end up dead from an arrest. And they have kicked and screamed and hollered and cussed and spit on cops, elbowed them, reached for a gun, reached for a taser, all types of shenanigans. And they made it to the jail unscathed. And they make it to court unscathed. But on May 25th, 2020, George Floyd sat outside in that damn car. I don't know why he did not leave that place and walked to his own death. outside of a police car. He walked to his death. All because he was claustrophobic and did not want to get inside of the police car. And there are no words to explain that. What we saw on that camera today. There are no words to explain the hokey pokey or running to the car, asking for him to come inside. If you felt so adamant that he passed the $20 bill, why didn't you just call the police? Johnny on the spot. What was the purpose of going back and forth to the car? Why was George still sitting in that damn car outside? What was he doing in the car? Now, that is going to bother the hell out of me. Why he sat out there as long as he did. What was he doing? Because even then, he sat. It was a death watch. Sadly, it was a death watch. He had no idea. But I could see how scared he was when the police approached the car with the gun, that he was fearful. I could see that. He was fearful because he said, I don't want to go back. And instead of him going back to jail for a $20 fraudulent bill, George Floyd left the earth. And nobody can explain to me how you feel that that was right, what Derek Chauvin did to him on May 25th, 2020. If you want to hit the link to join the panel to give me your commentary about the death of George Floyd and what was said in court today, please hit the link. Thank you. I watched a video about how one jury member had a medical issue today after viewing the video, possibly panic attack. Okay. I hadn't heard that because I haven't watched all of the commentary this evening. Cashier was mainly speaking with passenger. It's not working. Let me try it again. Let me try. Hold on, honey. Wait 1 second, please. W-N. Oh, okay. I had the one letter off. I'm sorry. I put in a U instead. I'm supposed to put a W. Sorry about that, dear. Y'all know how I get. Me and these links. Lord Jesus, help me. Thanks for your patience. I appreciate it. Oh, mercy. Like my head's about to bust. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Say what? If I know I've done something wrong and I'm approached 2 times, I'm not going to just sit there. Well, that's what I couldn't understand, why he was sitting out there. That's the part that bothers me. Because, see, that's the thing about hearing stuff. You don't really know what's the truth until, as this situation here, you get the cam, the body cams to see what was happening. So much was going on with them moving around and him in the car. You're really trying to just do all this, trying to watch everything. It's just disturbing. But I don't understand to hear that they went outside to the car 2 times to approach him about that damn money. I'm like, why you just didn't call the police? What, you think somebody's going to come back in? You're accusing me of bringing you fake money. See, that's why none of this makes any sense, because you kept the money. Once I watched the video a second time, the guy is walking out with the fake money in his hand. So they showed me they kept the money. Floyd didn't have the money. So if you felt this way, why didn't you just call the police the first time? Or were you trying to be nice? But that's the whole part that don't make sense either, because if I'm going to come in the store, what am I going to prove to you about the money? You want me to come stand in there and admit to you that I passed you the money? Because if you approach me in the store with the money and say it's fake, why am I going to come back in the store when I just left the store? See, none of this makes any damn sense to me. That's why I was telling people that there was some discrepancy about the money. And now listening, it makes no sense to me. Because I'm in the store, I give you the money, you say it's fake, then you kick the money, then I walk out and sit outside for whatever crazy reason. And we know that George had to be the last person to get in the car, because when the cop approaches the car, the other 2 participants are in the car. So that means, what were y'all doing? Why hadn't George Floyd drove off? It's crazy. And those 2 people, let it be known, they just caught a ride with George Floyd. That's it. One girl was getting her phone worked on. The other guy was doing something with a laptop, whatever. You can see he had a bag, so he bought something from the said store. So how in God's name did it come to this? And is he indeed the same guy who was in the store earlier trying to pass the bill? Because it states in this article that another guy or a guy was there earlier. So it's like, did they know this money was fake and try to pass it again? I'm going to reread that because it's something about it don't still make no sense. See, this guy saying, if I would have just not took the bill, this could have been avoided. But you did take the bill. You kept it. Somebody kept the bill. Martin and his co-workers made 2 trips to the SUV that Floyd was sitting in outside Cup Foods, trying to get him to come back to the store, Martin said. He recalled telling Floyd and his friends that the bill Floyd had just used was fake and that his boss wanted to talk to him. So when these people went to the car, these other people were still in the car. They were done with their business. Whatever they had done pertaining to in the store, they were done. That's what it says here. He told Floyd the bill was fake. Boss wants to talk to you. But Floyd and the other occupants, a man and a woman, refused to return to the store. And after the first attempt, Martin went back to his manager. I offered to pay, but he said no. Just tell them to come back inside, Martin told the jury. After Floyd and his friends again refused to return to the store, Martin testified. His manager told another co-worker to call the police. This makes no sense to me. Trying to get an understanding. And Floyd was inside the store for 10 minutes. Going through the aisles, bouncing up on his toes. The video shows Martin hold the $20 bill he had just received up to the light as Floyd stood in front of him. When I saw the bill, I noticed that it had a blue pigment to it. Kind of how a $100 bill will have, Martin said, and I found that odd, so I assumed it was fake. Now, right here, he doesn't say I used a marker to identify that it was fake. I assumed. So that means what? Who proved that the bill was fake? Stay woke. Earlier that day, Martin had refused to accept a similar bill from a man who was with Floyd. Later, that man would show the bill to Martin and his co-workers outside and teared the bill in half as he tossed it to the ground. So if we get this correct, that earlier that day, Martin had refused to accept a similar bill from a man who was with Floyd. So that means Floyd was in that store or outside that store earlier with another guy. And he said later that man would show the bill to Martin and his co-workers outside and tear the bill in half as he tossed it to the ground. So that means Floyd came back to that same store with another fake bill. Lord have mercy. It said the transaction with Floyd went ahead and Floyd left the store. But Martin kept looking at the bill, he said. In court, he explained that at the time, store policy mandated that if a cashier accepts any bogus money, you have to pay for it out of your money or your paycheck. Martin said that he initially thought he would put the transaction on his own tab, but he then had second thoughts and decided to tell his manager. So basically, that's what happened. Floyd was there earlier with a man who passed the bill. They go outside with this. It's the same thing, repetitive. You go outside, the man tears up the bill. So obviously they leave. So then Floyd comes back to the store with another guy to take this guy and girl to the store to try to pass another bill. So one can say Floyd knew willingly that the bill was fake. Allegedly. But this time, Floyd walked the death walk over this $20 bill. He did the transaction. He left out of the store. The guy was wrangling with the bill in his mind, and what made him turn the bill in to the manager was the fact that they said it would come out his own pay. So he decided, hell, I ain't going to take the rap. If it's fake, I'll go on and tell the manager that I think the bill is fake. But see, this is where it even gets more crazy. Did you verify that the bill was fake? I did not hear that in this article, if it was verified. It's crazy to me. It's the craziest story. Crystal says, I don't think George Floyd knew that it was fake. Well, that's what he said. He didn't think that he knew. They didn't say Floyd was with a guy earlier. Well, this article was saying that, this article was saying otherwise. That's why I'm rereading it to you. Right here. Earlier that day, Martin had refused to accept a similar bill from a man who was with Floyd, period. If you need verification for the story, npr.org is the source for this information. I just read that. And then it says later, that man would show the bill to Martin and his co-workers outside and tear the bill in half as he tossed it to the ground. So we know allegedly it must have happened, because when you get footage of this incident, you don't see that on the cam, the police or whoever. That had been said a year ago that somebody tried passing the bill. Now that was said a year ago. I remember like it was yesterday that it was said an attempt was made before Floyd went in with the bill. The passenger passed. Oh Lord, here we go. The passenger passed fake bill. This is why Cashier said he spoke mostly to the passenger. Well, I'm not going to sit here and argue about who said what to whom. I'm just reading you the said information from allegedly what was said in court. Thank you, Sandy. They never verified it was fake. Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to say, was it verified that the bill was fake? First time and second time. Thank you, Jason. George Floyd didn't have to die. And that's the moral of the story. No matter what you want to believe about who passed the bill first, who passed the bill second, who said what to whom, who's on first, who's on third. The point is, all this could have been avoided. When you saw George Floyd come back in the store, if you were the one who went out there the first time and saw George Floyd and another guy, whomever it was, and there was an issue with a fake bill, when George Floyd returned, you should have told him, I cannot accept any money from you. Common sense. Let me throw that in there. If there was an altercation in the beginning, earlier in the day about a fake bill, another guy in Floyd, then when Floyd returned and you're still working in the store, if you indeed are the same person, you should have told George Floyd, I cannot accept your money because I've already spoken to you and your other friend earlier about a fake bill. This makes no sense. Why I said the whole story don't make no sense to me. I got a headache. I've been had a headache. Well, I'm just saying, think about it. If we're to believe what these people are saying, this is what the boy testified in court, then that means you saw him 2 times with fraudulent money. So think about, does that make any sense? All you had to do is when he came back, sir, you were already here earlier. I'm not taking your money. So if George Floyd wanted to still sit outside in that car for whatever reason, it wouldn't have been no big deal because all you would have said was, sir, I can't take your money. I've already talked to you and some other guy earlier. Here's your money back. Bye. Matter of fact, when you saw him, you didn't even have to take the money. So now that's why I said that this really don't make no sense. Because how did the guy at the store get the money to walk out, but the police with the cam showing him with the money in his hand? So he kept the money. The guy, the cops are filming the guy in the store walk out with the money. That's how they ended up walking over to his car. He was walking out in front of the cops, pointing at the car, and then the cops said, stay back. And then they approached the car. Hit the link if you want to give your commentary. I ain't going to keep talking about no $20 bill. The man's dead. Hell. I just wish he never went back to the store. Seriously. Just never went to the store. Because people are going to argue that till they blue if he knew that the bill was fake. And hearing this information, going back to the store 2 times with fake money, then naturally people are going to assume, well, he knew what he was doing, that the bill was fake. So he willingly went back 2 times to get himself in this situation. But by no means, even if he was foolish enough to go back 2 times with a fake bill, it still didn't have to lead to him being murdered. Because like I said, people get arrested for stuff every day, way more serious than a fake $20 bill. That's a misdemeanor. How you doing?
Okay.
Well, kids not gonna think like that.
This
Yes, Helen. Excuse me. You okay?
Today was real hard to watch.
Don't cry because I will cry. I can't do this. That's why I can't watch it again. They played that thing about 2 or 3 times. I thought I was gonna just jump out this window. I was just like, Lord, please don't play it no more. I couldn't let him play it.
It just it was hard. Being a Black woman and trying to raise sons to do the right thing, and then this to still see this happening, it's scary. It's really scary to see those grown men up there on that stand crying.
Yeah, that was rough.
That it just shows you that racism, it hasn't went anywhere.
Yeah.
It hasn't.
Yes.
It has not went anywhere.
Right.
Now, it's so much racism out there, and oh, well, he was on drugs, and I don't care how high he was.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't mean you kill somebody.
Yeah. Well, because people get high every day. People are drunk in stores every day. I mean, let's just keep it real. People
Yeah.
walk outside their door drunk every day, going to eat, Walmart, all of that. It is up to the people in the store to decide if they want to let you patronize their establishment. That is your personal choice. And if they decide to become unruly, unlawful, disorderly, then yes, you call the authorities. But this man wasn't acting like that. So he was geeked up when he walked in the store allegedly. That was so what? So what? Nothing is, so long as he wasn't doing nothing in there disrupting the flow. He wasn't in there tearing up nothing, cursing,
That's right.
Nobody, physical.
Right.
So he was high.
Exactly.
Give a damn.
And then the cops, how they had made that statement to the kids, because that one cop, I can't remember that cop's name, but he looked at the kids and he told the kids,
yeah,
this is what drugs do to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he failed to mention, this is how.
Yes, the chat was horrible during the trial. Yes. And not outright. Usually they bar you out the store. That's why I said, if you knew you had been in the store before, why would you take the money?
Yeah.
You let him go back out the store with the money. That lets me know you didn't have a marker. You didn't have a marker. So, okay, so y'all just as stupid as a cop. How many times a person got to keep coming in with somebody with fake money for you to say, hey, don't come back in my store? And if Floyd wanted to sit out there and talk to himself, that'd been his business.
That's right.
That's why I always said something ain't right with that store and the actual goings on about the money, because it was discrepancies day one about the money. So that's why I always said, well, was it fake or not? So now this time he ain't said that, yeah, it was, because you let him go outside. You would have checked it right then. Hello, stay woke. That's what I keep trying to tell y'all. Everything's at the beginning of the story. You would have checked it as soon as he handed it to you. Any bill over 20 on up gets marked with a marker. Even in a mom and pop shop. You mean to tell me you didn't have a marker? So you would have marked it. Sorry, sir, this is fake. Don't come back to our store. That'd be the end of that.
Right.
Yes. He was sitting outside. That's why I said, why were y'all even outside? Why was he still sitting outside?
That's why I think he didn't know. I think his friend might have known something.
Yeah, he couldn't have known. Because that's a very good point. If I done been here 2 times, I ain't getting ready to keep sitting in this car.
Yep.
Because the guy just said we came out there to try to get him to come back in, and him and his friends didn't want to come in. So that makes me wonder, then what the hell is really going on? Because why would he still sit outside in the car if he's been approached 2 times about fake money and, hey, my boss want to talk to you? But then remember, they said the owner of the store didn't know about the money, and that wasn't his protocol to call the police. So who the hell were these other people? Damn. All right now. It don't add up. None of that adds up. If you sit here and just listen to what I just read you, all this could have been avoided truthfully before the cops came. Sir, don't come back. That's the end of the story. Don't come back. Don't bring nobody back with you. Matter of fact, we don't want to see you near the damn store. Yeah, it did start with the store, because that's the ripple effect. You're now telling me I let him walk out the store with the stuff or whatever.
Right. Right.
Or did he not walk out with the stuff? Which is it? Because you kept the money. So that's why I couldn't understand. Or did he buy something or he didn't? Or you kept the money and he left with nothing. Man, this is crazy. Yeah, I want to choke everybody involved. Who has the actual money? The store had it. When you watch the court proceeding with the video cam, the guy's walking out. You can see the money in his hand. Whoever that Arab guy is or whatever his nationality is, he has the money in his hand. So then the cop tells him to stay back, and then they go approach George Floyd at the SUV van or whatever across the street. Okay, that black dude shouldn't have took his narrow tail out there to retrieve some funny money. Well, he wasn't going out there to retrieve no money, baby. He was going out there to tell him, hey, my boss wants to speak to you. That's what was said in this article. I just wouldn't have done it. I'd have told him, I'm not going out there to ask nobody about no money. Because that's my point. You took the money, whether it was to keep it for evidence or you allowed him to get whatever he was going to get. But then that don't make sense because remember he said, I was going to pay for his cigarettes.
Yep.
So that means he couldn't have bought nothing then.
Yep.
I'm telling you, this story stinks to high heaven.
Yep.
Yes. What manager sends their employee out to person or why he didn't go? That's what I'm saying. I ain't never heard of nothing like this before. And then y'all saying he said in court that, it's a hot area or whatever thing. Right. If we're in a high crime area, what the hell I look like going out there and ask you about, hey, you just passed the fake money, come back inside the store.
Right. Yeah.
Well, he did go tell his manager, but the manager's the ones that sent them outside, honey. You asking the wrong person. I'm just reading you all what was said. Like I said, I was doing some things when the trial was going on with the guy was testifying, so I didn't get to hear him speak it verbatim. That's the reason why I brought you all the article to bring to you what allegedly was said in court. But this story sounds weird to me. All of this is weird because now we to blame Chauvin for killing him. But all this could have been avoided at the start of the store.
Yeah, yeah. It sure could have.
Yes. Chauvin murdered George, but that store should also hold their heads in shame, too, because they started the problem and imagine sending out an employee to speak to George. Yeah, that make no sense. I never make the jury that man is guilty as no longer protect and serve protect. The cop is probably KKK prospect or Milwaukee Bandito. Okay. The manager should have took his old anti-black butt out to discuss the show. I have a problem with the manager sending them kids out there. Yes, Cynthia, I agree. Yes, it's major weird. So now Night Owl saying the store is lying. Something ain't right. Because it was all this stuff jumped off. The owner, from what the rumor was, he said, I don't call no police. But this guy was new, the young boy. But what he should have done was ask the other guys, what do? I don't think this bill is real. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yep. It sure shouldn't have been going out there.
Not in the hood, not in an urban area. He didn't have to go at that period. Because see, I'm telling you, if this guy is the same guy working in the store, you already knew who George was of him when you went out to the car.
Yeah.
No. Okay, no. Let me take that back. They're saying that somebody with George came and passed the bill earlier, right? You went out there then and the guy tore it up, right?
Right.
So when George came in the second time, that killed all that. Hey, I can't take your money. I just talked to you earlier with your homeboy and he tore it up.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And I think too, why I think that the passenger, he knew more than, we haven't even seen he's going to testify or what that is. So maybe more is going to come out. But I think that he did know more about the money. The reason why I say that is because the first.
So, well, honey, you're breaking up. I think a Wi-Fi is messing up. All over $20. You're right. I also felt for George's family watching that must have been
First
awful.
thing that
Crystal, you breaking up, baby.
there, can you hear me?
No, you
Okay,
broke
I'm
up.
gonna get okay.
Well, McKinsey told him that they were taking out his money. So that leads me to believe they didn't have a marker, because you wouldn't have all this conversation if you had a marker. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There wouldn't be all this conversation. If I got a marker, we ain't got to tell you, oh, if you take the bill, it's coming out your check. If I mark it and I see it's fake, there's nothing that's going to have to be taken out my check, because I'm going to call the bluff of the person with the bill and say, hey, your bill is fraudulent. Here's your bill. Please don't come back in the store. Well, you have to call the police. Just going to tell you. We have you on surveillance. I got your picture. I know what you look like. Don't come back, sir. Yes, it was senseless. You said, what are you saying? Are these two women blaming the young man, Cashier? Are you freaking kidding me? Well, this is my program, and I say what the hell I want to say up here. Why are you arguing with somebody about a bill that you already said brought up fraudulent bill in the store earlier? You worry about yourself. Stay out my damn chat. Thank you, Night Owl. Salasad, whatever your name is. You in the wrong playhouse, baby. Everything starts from the beginning. What fool would watch somebody pass a bill or attempt to pass a fake bill, and then that person comes back into the store hours later, however long it is, and still take money from them when they just saw them with somebody else pass a bill? So don't come over here, because he was a part of that, and I'm saying that. That's the reason why there was a discrepancy about what actually happened in that store last year, because they said the owner said, I don't call the police on people for passing fake money. They had an altercation at the bar about the cop checking being short. George told him to take up with the manager. He was passing them out. I don't simply understand what you're saying. This whole situation is horrible, but we have to hold everyone accountable for their own action. Yes, Tasha, yes. Trying to earn them points, he pure evil. You can see it in his eyes. If anybody tried to stop him, no doubt he's goonless. His goonies would have made the death toll higher than the man up to say stop. Yes, stores should have let it alone once Floyd left. Yes. That's okay. You can call me. Just call me. But that's the point. Is that we're now hearing different of opinion of what allegedly took place at the store. So common sense should tell anybody listening with some sense. You don't accept money 2 times in the same day from somebody who was either with somebody that passed it or the same person that passed it. What you don't understand about that? That's no different than right now. I go buy something from somebody. It doesn't work. Why would I then go back later and purchase something else from him or her? I just say, you know what? That's okay. I'll keep my money. I'm not going to take the chance. It's called common sense. It just show everybody how I feel about us black folks. We only have a problem when they do it to us. Yes. Even as a white man, it's despicable. Thank you, James. Thank you. Cashier said he felt guilty because he just shouldn't have taken the money in the first place. Yeah, I don't think they even had a marker. The manager should have let the cashier pay the $20. Right, and that's my point, is that this guy is sitting here saying, I've already had an issue with these said people earlier pertaining to fraudulent money. So I'm supposed to sit here and feel sorry for him taking George Floyd's money again? How does that make any logical sense, to take the money again? You're spinning this story. Angela's not spinning the story. You're spinning this story. And I can't understand how a business doesn't have a marker for fraudulent money. You're supposed to have that. I think the cop had something against Floyd when they worked together at the nightclub. Yes, I think he did. Because when I was listening to the audio on the cam, I could have sworn I heard Floyd say, "You know me, but you know me." Yes, not out. The store's the root. Yes. Yes, and sent him out there twice. That's what I'm saying. So nobody thinks they should be, they're not a party to this nonsense. You're talking about city people. Who does that? You're in a major city, and you're talking about going out, sending kids, whomever, to go approach people about fraudulent money. Does that make any sense? In this day and time where people have guns, knives, and you coming up in my chat talking all that crazy nonsense. Get your ass on. Tara says it's the law to have one in the stores. I would hope so. That's what I'm saying. Yes, he said, you know me, man. Come on, you know me. Yes, Crystal. I know he said that. Here, call me honey back. Crazy. Ain't nobody got to explain nothing to these fools out here in these streets. Nobody will explain. I tell you what, Mr. Salazar, pray that you don't end up on the other side of the coin like George Floyd. That somehow you get yourself mixed up in some shenanigans and somebody decides to throw you to the ground and knee you to the neck, and you pray for your mama. Just pray you don't ever end up where George Floyd ended up. Hello, dear.
Hey.
Go ahead and finish what you were saying, baby.
So, with the passenger, when the police went up to him, the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "I went in there to buy a laptop or something like that."
Yes.
And he said, "But I decided not to, so he gave me money back." And the reason why I find that funny is because automatically he's trying to put that money out of his reach, more or less, like, you get what I'm saying?
Say it again, baby.
I think that he knew that the passenger, I feel that he knew that money was fake.
Okay. So what are you saying? He gave George the money, you think? That's
what I think. I honestly think that. And then
okay, that's what Cynthia said. Hold on, I'm gonna let you finish, baby. I think that passenger had a lot to do with it. Look at the video when him and George was in the store. He looked like he passed him something, then walked. Yep. Okay, walked out the store.
Yeah, and it was money. It was money and then George went and he started flipping the money, like counting it. You get it?
Yeah, Fran says the same thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So I have to watch it again. But I just thought the whole scenario. See, let me tell you something. This is what I tell y'all. Queen, stay woke. I didn't get the 50 bags to them. Ain't nobody getting ready to sit outside no damn store once approached about no fake money. Time number one.
Mm-hmm.
The hell I'm gonna sit outside the car for? Are you walking up to me talking about some fake money? Whether I intentionally knew it was fake or not, I'm not gonna keep sitting there. Why would I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Come on now.
Yeah, I think that passenger had a lot more to do with it than he's portraying, because automatically when the police was up on him, like I said, he said, "Oh, I was in the store. I went in there to buy a laptop, but I decided not to, so he gave me my change back." He said he went back in there and he gave me money back.
Yes, I heard him say that.
Yeah, so that way, if the cops come and they ask him, "Well, what about where does fake money come from?" Well, I don't know, because he gave me my money back from the store. It must have came from the store. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Tara
He's
Scott
trying
said,
to throw that fake money off of him.
yeah, the boy said that he didn't know George Floyd knew the money was fake. Yeah, he did say that.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta watch. You have to go.
And who's to say? And who's to say? Let's keep this real, because we gonna pretend we're in the street. For those of y'all that ain't live street life, who's to say? Okay, he get high. They paid him the money to take him to the store. Remember they said we got to ride with him.
Yep.
This is friend's car. How we don't know they gave him the $20 bill? We don't know nothing.
Yep.
Like I said, it looks bad on George's part, because allegedly in this article, George was there earlier outside in the car with somebody else who passed fake money. But then we still got to say how we know that was fake, because you ain't had no marker.
Right.
And you saying, oh, I held it up to the light. They got it on camera, him holding up to the light. So that's what I'm saying. So did you prove it was fake or not? Because this man is dead. This man is dead over an alleged fake $20 bill. This is crazy to me. Okay, Fran Bean says, my daughter feel it was a setup. Something?
Yeah.
Okay, Stand Back said, and that's a good point. Once the store took the money and gave change, it's a done deal. Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Because who's to say, hell, the money you gave back wasn't fake.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly why that passenger said that. That's exactly why that passenger said, I went in there and to return the laptop, he gave me my money back. He gave me money back. So
you think that he took that money and gave George some money?
Yes, I do.
Okay, but this is where people going to still say George is fuddy-duddy. He was already at that store earlier with alleged fake money, remember?
Yeah, but it wasn't George that gave them supposedly the fake money, right? It's supposed to be the person he was with.
Well, Kenneth, drop the link for Kenneth Davis. I want Kenneth to get up here and speak. Drop the link for Kenneth. Yes, Tara, you can call in. Y'all are welcome to call in. Just be respectful and don't curse. Okay, James said straight up execution. Yeah, it was. Because in the end, like I said, whether George knew it was fake or not, it doesn't matter to me. Damn, it's just $20. It ain't that damn serious. Folks still out of Walmart every damn day pushing out TVs, diapers, electronics, every damn thing. Now, I'm in the South, and I'm going to tell you how they do. Some white folks, and I'm going to say it because they were white, down in the country, down in Roane County, them white folks pushed the whole damn buggy out. Mad paper they pushed out of there. Now, you want to sit here and tell me you didn't see these people putting that stuff in the buggy and then pushed it out and went to their car and took that stuff out, and then you want to put up information. If you see this car, you know these people. Well, hell, you let them go out the store with it. And come on, miss me with all that. Don't I ain't with all that craziness now. She got the link right there above you, baby. Thank you, Kenneth. But you understand what I'm saying? Whether he knew or not, conspired or not, it's still, there should have been a protocol with the store. Okay? And I'm not saying the store has anything to do with what Chauvin did. But everybody knows what a situation is a jump off. This was chaotic from the jump over a $20 bill. That's all. One thing begets another. If you read the Bible, you should know that. One thing begets another, and that's what happened. Somebody let somebody go with a $20 bill, went out there, played duck, duck, goose. Why Mr. George still stayed outside, I have no idea, but I wish he had pulled his car off. He'd be alive today. But what Chauvin did was on his own. And I know that. I don't need nobody to tell me nothing about that.
Yeah. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care what they say. That was murder.
Yeah. Okay. Didi says this was a suspected transaction that ended up in a death. Yes. 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 Not Alan. Chain reaction. That's the best way to put it. A chain reaction. Yes. The store put everything in motion. Because there's no way right now, if I was working in a store and I thought the money was fake or whatever, I would have just said, you know what? I'm not getting ready to take this money, sir. Sorry, I'm not taking this money. And 9 times out of 10, what food gonna come back if they see they give me my money back? Kenneth, how are you?
Yes, how you doing?
How you doing? Where you from, baby?
I'm originally from Florida, but I was in Minnesota at the time of the thing happened.
Okay, sweetheart.
And
thank you.
What's going on with this? What people really don't know is at the time when they actually was walking up to George, and this is what they're gonna use as their scapegoat. And it's so crazy it is what it is, and they's hiding this from the rest of America because they want the country to blow up once and to be honest with you, a not guilty verdict is gonna come about. Or if a not guilty verdict don't come, it's gonna be the charge that he's gonna get convicted of. It ain't gonna be no time in jail at all. But George did have something in his mouth at the time when the officer walked up on him.
Okay.
So with that being said, that's what they're gonna use as their leverage as, the officer didn't cause his death. Okay. So that's why they're trying to rely on the toxicology report.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Well, you know.
Right, I know. I done been in the courtroom.
Let me tell you something. White, black, short, tall, or fat. These folks can say whatever the hell they want to say. That man should be alive right now.
Exactly.
He is not the only person that did not want to get in a damn police car. And then you have to think about what the crime is. If we want to say allegedly this isn't really a crime, nobody deserved to be dead over a $20
And then he had his gun. He had his gun out on him for a fake $20 bill.
I saw that today. That's why I'm telling these other folks, man, don't come over here with that mess because you act like that man had just got accused of raping a kid.
Or armed robbery.
Right. It's like somebody said, you act like he went in there and held the damn store up and they said, oh, he's still sitting in his car. That's why you know if something ain't right. Why would I still be sitting in my damn car if I willingly passed a bill? I done came to your store 2 damn times and I'm going to sit outside the car for what?
And this is another thing how you can tell they setting this trial up for failure. That's just like if 4 guys go into a house and they commit a crime, or if you go anywhere and you commit a crime, all 4 of y'all going on trial together. Mm-hmm. So they separated them individually. The reason they separated them individually, we're going to let the first one go on trial first. So if Derek comes back at a lesser charge, the other guys, they don't have no choice but to follow suit. But if all of y'all went to trial together, then everyone is going to be accountable and they're going to speak of what they did and did not do. So if all 4 of them would have went to trial together, Derek would have got thrown under the bus. They knew this.
Well, guess what? Those commentators, I'm watching that Law and Crime show on YouTube. That's who's been airing the trial. And those commentators broke it down once court adjourned. And they said, if Chauvin is found guilty of a lesser charge, which is manslaughter, the other cohorts cannot be charged with aiding and abetting, which is their formal charge at the moment.
So what that tell you?
Okay. That's why I pray them 12 members act like they got some sense up in there.
And then the courtroom bias. You can see the judge going crazy on witnesses and stuff. It's like they discipline witnesses and shit. I'm like, man, that's crazy.
Gene makes a great point. Gene makes a great point. With all the video footage we saw, why didn't we see them finding something in his mouth? Amen.
He swallowed it, but they ain't letting it out.
Okay. So if he passed it through his private parts, how they get in the car? I said it.
He passed it through his private. What you mean?
What I'm saying is, you do know about the rumor, the alleged issue that came up in court weeks ago. His defense attorney wanted evidence admitted in the court that they found drugs in the back of the car.
Mm-hmm. With the lady who got out the back seat. Because it was a lady in the back seat of the car. No, I'm talking about in the police car, baby. You ever heard that? Well, you know what you know how they got right there.
But I'm gonna keep it. Because the queen keeps it real over here. His defense attorney tried to get that admitted about 2 weeks ago in court. That they found drugs inside of the police car months later, mind you, not the 26th, 27th of May, but months.
Yeah, that's a
They
tactic they
tested
trying
the
to use.
DNA. They tested the DNA, and it comes back to be the DNA of Mr. George Floyd. I say, well, you ain't doing your job because you want me to sit here and just really believe, in my right mind, you cleaned a car out 3-4 months later and found drugs in it and then tested it, and automatically George Floyd's name came to mind to test the drugs. I stay woke.
But then look at it. A whole month later, nobody else got a ride to the police, put the jailhouse in your back seat.
No, boo boo. Try. He said months later, like fall.
So you never arrested nobody in 180 days since that incident.
Bye. You held on to this for months. I'm telling you, dude, this didn't come to fruition until around December 2020. So the judge told him, no, you can't bring this up in my courthouse. I'm not allowing it.
World, hello world. All I gotta say, mama.
You really want me to not think, hell, this ain't a conspiracy? Because that's what it's looking like now. We're gonna do the Illuminati now because some of y'all believe in it.
But no, it ain't Illuminati. Some of us just gotta believe in actually what it is. It is what it is. When I say it is what it is, what the police was originally created for.
Look, anybody with some sense, no, just like what you said, sir.
There you go. The narrative was up down in my car looking at me. Okay. So I say, damn, if they could damn near convict me of something that's not me and make you motherfuckers innocent of something that is y'all, man, we better wake up.
Yeah. But see, this is what I'm going to tell you something. And I've learned this, and I'm going to say this to anybody who don't have a car, you don't have your own. You need to be very careful about the cars you get in, getting rides with people. Also, if you're driving, you put people in your car. You understand what I'm saying? Because many people have innocently gotten themselves jacked up by getting in cars with people and giving people rides. And I say that to all of you listening, because you don't ever know what situation you're going to be in where you will need a ride or you give a ride. To be very careful the cars you get in and giving, just because so much craziness goes on in the world. But this to me is foolishness with this case. And I always question what actually took place in that store. And that's just my discerning spirit. I always question what actually took place. Because you see, when I start hearing different versions of something that went on pertaining to the death of anybody, I start to wonder, am I really learning the truth about the situation? You understand what I'm saying? I don't know if Kenneth's still there. Kenneth, you still there? I think Kenneth's Wi-Fi is null. What to my Edward? How am I froze? I'm right here. Says buffering. Well, I'm here. I'm here, everybody. Okay, baby. Well, Gene, you have to be careful. Okay, Edward, thank you. I don't know. Y'all said I was buffering. As far as I know, I'm okay. But, you know, that can happen. This is Wi-Fi land. So thank you so much, sir, for coming up speaking. But I say this to all of you. Listen, you need to be very careful of giving people rides in your cars. Be very careful getting rides with people, because you see, this is what's so crazy, that these people got in the car with Mr. Floyd. He did somebody a favor. Allegedly, that was not his automobile. That guy said that in the video, that this was not George Floyd's car. So anybody with sense already knows. I don't know, baby, where he is. I'm gonna call him here in a minute. Anybody with common sense knows that 9 times out of 10, these people had to pay Mr. Floyd money for taking them to the store. Stay woke. Stay woke. They paid George Floyd to take him to the store. And I don't know what is what and what ain't. But no matter what you want to believe about this sad situation that took place May 25th, 2020, George Floyd did not deserve to die with a knee to the neck. Whether it was $20, $30, real money, no money, misunderstanding, no verification of the money. Nobody deserves to die like that over any type of situation. Because like I said, whether it was real or not, the money, he didn't deserve to die like that. And I understand he was upset. He didn't want to get in the car. Thank you. Thank you so much, Warrior Spirit. Thank you. He didn't deserve to die like that. And I tell people that, especially African-American people, you have to be very careful out here because the devil is busy and he wants us. He wants our souls. He wants us. We have been a target from the moment we came over. Our ancestors came over by boat and stolen from the motherland. And you're talking about hundreds of years later, and we still are enemy number one. And don't you ever forget that. And as you see, the old saying says, free ain't really free. Amen. Free ain't really free. Don't get it twisted. Don't ever think because you look nice, you wear nice clothes, you educated, you live in a nice house, you got a pretty car, you talk well, that you cannot be the victim of profiling and misunderstanding, wrong place, wrong time, helping somebody that you cannot end up George Floyd. Because you see, I am George Floyd. I am Trayvon Martin. I am Miss Brianna. I am all those who have left here because it doesn't matter the circumstance. It is the result that matters. Thank you. Thank you, Kenneth. Okay, Kenneth. Mooka, thanks for joining me. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you so much, Kenneth, for joining me. Don't cry, Edward. Edward, you get too emotional. Edward, don't cry, because I already did cry. But Black people have been target number one, and I don't see an end to it. I can never understand how you could hate somebody so much. You don't even know the Black man and Black woman. And I listen to some of the comments I've seen on social media. And you talk about how we are savages, that all we do is kill each other, that we are unfit, that we are gangbangers, we're drug addicts. But you see, white man and woman, you afforded us that opportunity to be all those things because you oppressed us. You oppressed us. And then you criticize what you made. You see, it is easy to cry victim about the Black man and the Black woman. But you, your ancestors, oppressed us. And then when we decided to uprise in the 60s, you couldn't accept that. Or you still look to blame all of us. for the smallest things. We're not all the same. We're not all the same. Just like you white people are not all the same. And you all commit crimes every day. You steal from each other, rob each other, you fraud each other, you kill your mamas and your daddies for insurance money. You'll kill your own for the almighty dollar. But you will judge us that we are savages, we are beasts. But you'll kill your mama for 20 G's, for 100 G's. You'll kill your mom and daddy so you can take their business because you greedy. And you talk about the black man killing. You talk about we're drug addicts, we're drug users. But as they say, well, we don't own no airplanes. Stay woke. Stay woke.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, Miss Angela. Hey everybody. I'm not at home right now, so let me roll my windows up. I just wanted to weigh in and give my commentary about the trial and the whole everything about the public. I don't call it murder. I call it a public lynching that happened to him. And I will forever call it that anytime someone is unjustly lynched. First of all, the story with that store never made sense about the money. Was it fake? Was it not fake? To me, that's irrelevant. It's to me, the man was lynched for the public for a reason. And that was because this cop wanted to show that he had authority
Yes.
and he just did not care. Second of all, the reason I won't watch the trial is because I've seen this before. And like the caller said before, I see where this is going. We're going to put the victim on trial and air him out in his dirty laundry and make it seem like he deserved this lynching, which they always do anytime one of us is murdered
Yes.
for public display. Second of all, I learned this a long time ago when it was the Trayvon Martin lynching. Why do we expect justice in a land that's stolen? And when I read that years ago, it has stuck with me up to now. And I always say it, how can you expect justice in a land that's stolen? I don't expect anything. You know why? Because they've been doing it for centuries and centuries and centuries and getting out. Anytime you live in a country where the victim is villainized for everything about them from the day they come into the world to the day they are taken out of the world, I don't expect much. I do expect, riots and an uprising, but do I expect them to go to jail? No. See, I prepared myself for this when it was the Trayvon Martin. I prepared myself for this when it was Rodney King. People seem to forget that this is a pattern. How many police officers, you said it yourself, jurors do not like to convict cops, even if they see footage. This ain't the first time we seen footage of a lynching. Did y'all forget? Well, y'all didn't forget. They've murdered people on camera before. How many cops sat in jail and went to prison behind it? When you can count on one hand how many cops have been convicted of a lynching, then you talk to me about me expecting them to give some type of justice to the families. That's why I say families shouldn't take settlements before the trials, because that's their compensation to us. And you can't pay for the life of somebody because you can't give life, then you shouldn't take life. And so that's what I expect. I expect them to acquit them. I expect them to keep their dirty laundry. I expect witnesses to change statements because their story is line number one. Because where I live at, you know what they do about fake money. Sometimes they call the cops, sometimes they don't. Most times they'll get the money, stick it on the wall, put your picture up there and say this person can't
And that's what
return.
I thought was weird. And I meant to say that, but I didn't know what their protocol was. I thought, why didn't you take his picture? Most stores, like you said, will take pictures if you steal out the store. They'll have video surveillance and they'll take that snap, that picture and show these people. Hey, say these people are not allowed back in the store.
Right. And they just stick it on the wall, and if $20 costs this much hell, they don't need to be a store. If $20
No.
costs this much hell, then they don't need to be a store. Because stores take losses every day.
Yes. Because people steal every day. That's the thing. People, credit card fraud, don't pay your credit card bills. All the same. You stole that. You ain't never paid your credit card bill. It's the same. Sorry, I didn't like you. You wrote a bad check. Same thing. You stole that.
Right. And I've seen people walk in the store in the hood and steal stuff out the store in my face. And I would ask the cashier, matter of fact, Dodge's fried chicken store, if anybody have any Dodgers in their neighborhood. And I asked the cashier, y'all seen that man steal that stuff out the store? They said it wasn't worth our life. And it wasn't worth his life.
Oh, yeah. Some stores, let me tell you, and some stores will fire you if you go out and try to stop a thief.
Right.
They tell you that. Don't stop no thief in our store. They will fire you if you try to stop a thief. A lot of stores have fired their employees for trying to apprehend a thief.
Right. I've seen it at Dollar General, where a lady walked in, had stuff under her shirt, and the cashier was gonna chase her outside. The lady threw the stuff back up on the counter. And we said, my husband and I, girl, that wouldn't worth your life. You make $7 or $8, it wasn't worth it. So I say all of that to say, was that man on drugs? I don't know. I wasn't there. Do I think they gonna plant evidence? Yes, I do. Do I think they intimidated witnesses? Yes, I do, because this is what they do. And before anybody get in that chat talking about, do I hate law enforcement? First of all, I have law enforcement in my family, and they understand how I feel. I don't trust law enforcement. Are all cops bad? Absolutely not. Just like all races of people are not bad. But do we have bad apples that spoil the bunch? Yes. They fuss all together. I looped them all together. My husband told me years ago when I was dating him, the biggest gang in the world was the police. At the time, I didn't believe him because I was taught to respect law enforcement. My cousin was a warden of a prison, and Parchman, I would just say it, Parchman, for years, warden, understand that. So I know all of the ins and outs. And yes, they life be on the line. Yes, they want to go home to their families, but understand this. Just like women are raising black men, I raise black daughters. I live in the South. Didn't I tell you the night police that hear about me in the jail? Okay. From all aspects, and I would tell you, it is a fear when you say your children out the door, teach them right here to do them a good Caucasian education. Keep them out the hood, let them dress nice, give them, and guess what? At the end of the day, they still see nothing but black.
Yes.
Nothing but black. You could be nice at church every Sunday. I could talk to them about anything from A to Z. My husband listens to all type of music. A to Z now. But when they pull them over, all they see is a big black man with a black woman. So see, I'm never underestimate where I live. And then I tell you, they have 45 signs everywhere, Confederate flags everywhere, and they will let you know from Dixieland, they will put just about KKK on their truck. See, that's where I come from. So that's why I don't play with none of this, and it's real serious to me when I say I see the setup and what they coming with. This is what they do where I live at. They still say gal, that boy, monkey. They still say all that.
Well, I know that because I know where you are, so I know it's the old South. It's the old South where you are, and it's still racist. You are still in one of the most racist states in America. You in one of the your state is the poorest state out of all 50 states in the union, and this was a state where it was mad racism and yes, some and no ma'am. But now, guess what? Your state is crumbled. Queen does her homework. Your state is
and the most
gutter ratchet.
Most Bible belt, but baby, the racists will let you know they racist. You know, you understand me. And then I tell you how we still have segregated problems in Mississippi. We do. Segregated schools, all of that. They play no game and I let them know I don't play no games that have to about them. I call them Caucasus Mountains. Get it through your research. I let them know what civilization started. Games all day with them, but I ain't never played with my life. And all
Not Alice in Mississippi. Somebody asked me that. Not Alice in the state of Mississippi.
We can comply all day. They don't care. They don't give a damn about complying. Didn't I tell y'all that? They don't care about if we comply. They still talk to me as if I went and stole car radios. So that leads me to say, do I think they gonna let him get away? Yeah, they gonna walk him on up out of there. They gonna throw welcome home KKK parties for him with the Grand Wizard's daughter. And if y'all think for any minute they gonna give him in a amount of time, they'll give him a suspended sentence before he
listen,
jail.
So what you trying to say? 12 members gonna find him not guilty? That's what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm not naive. What cops have you seen convicted of lynching that they care about and they got videotape? See, we keep saying they got videotape. What does that matter? We had audio of Trayvon, video of Eric Goddard, video of all this stuff. We had plenty of video. Where's all them cops? We had a cop walk in the house that wasn't even her house and shoot a black man. Talking about it was her house. Family up hugging her. Okay. How many years they give her? Right. See, history repeats itself, and until that cycle is broken, we will never get justice. I mean, that's just what it is. How many cops in prison for lynching? But compared to how many of them walk free because they put the victim on trial. It's why I say to our people, watch what you post. Be careful of the language you speak. Be careful of the company you keep, because those very things can come back one day.
Well, I did say that. I said, the simple stuff or all this stuff of getting rides. Many people have gotten themselves caught up by being nice to people, giving them rides, taking them places. Because I tell myself, I got a feeling George Floyd would be alive had he not even been in this position of giving rides or whatever was going on with these people. It's probably more it's terrible.
I believe he was set up. I'm going to just say it. I believe he was
Crystal want to know, did you say that y'all still have segregated schools down there?
Yes, ma'am. We still have segregated schools. Okay. Segregated proms, segregated high school field trips, segregated football teams. Yes, segregation is still a very real thing. As well as we have plantations, we got old slave quarters, we got people that love cars.
Well, Gene says we're getting a conviction. Gene, I'm with you. I lean on faith. I'm on faith. Chauvin is a rap.
Wow.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not thinking negative. I'm not
thinking negative. I go by history.
I believe Chauvin is going to get it, because this is one thing y'all ain't realized. When the trial is over, they will release your name.
They released the motherfucker name. Where's they at?
Well, but guess what? Maybe this time somebody will say, I'm going to speak my truth and vote him guilty.
I think they do, but my chances on standing on that is slim because of how this is already going and what already has happened in the past.
Okay. Well, I got Virgin up here, Lopez. You want to speak, baby?
Yeah. I'm just listening to the conversation. I just came in the chat, but I was raised in New York City. We have good ones and we have bad ones. I have family in law enforcement too, and I know for a fact that person is an amazing person. He's had people that he has arrested see him in the street and give him a hug.
Who are you talking about?
But I'm talking about law enforcement right now, because I think that's what the conversation was about.
No. Wait, before you get started.
Okay.
Who are you speaking? Because I'm confused about who you're talking about. Are you talking about Chauvin, or who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the person that was just speaking before me. What she was saying.
Right now. So I'm confused. You're losing me right now.
Oh, okay. Then I might be lost, because I just started.
Are you talking? Oh, so let me ask you this: are you talking about Chauvin? What he did was right or wrong? Please explain to me, because I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't know what he did, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't a good thing. I just came in the chat and
Well,
I was
maybe
listening.
you should just keep listening. Maybe.
Okay, maybe.
No,
Okay.
because I don't understand where you're coming from. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't understand what's
Oh,
going.
okay. And then she's talking about
She lives in the South. I live in the South. She lives in the South. She's talking about life in the South. She's talking about, being black in America, all that. So I'm confused at where you're coming from. I don't understand what's going on.
no, it is. It is being it's hard. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's so hard when you're African American, even when the census came to my son, they were like, "Are you black or are you white?" And my son was like, "I'm Latino. I'm Spanish." And she was like, "We don't have that option. Are you black or you white?" And things like that. Like, oh my God, like African Americans go through so much, so much. It's I don't get it. I don't know. It's really disturbing what you guys have to go through even in these days. And they lie to you in school. They lie about
I don't know. Wi-Fi cut off, I guess. Okay. Who would have your child best interest, a black teacher or a white teacher? Kenneth, don't start. Kenneth, play nice. Kenneth, I thought you said you were busy. Well, I'm over 2 hours. I try not to run the lives too long. This has been a very emotional live for me. I tried my best not to get emotional. Well, you know what, James? It don't matter. Queen, stay woke. I keep trying to tell y'all that. This has been a very, very emotional live for the Queen. There's just no words for how I feel right now. And I'm leaning on faith that those 12 members will find Derek Chauvin guilty of all said charges in the death of George Floyd. And I also pray that when August arrives, that the other officers will be charged with aiding and abetting Chauvin in the murder of George Floyd. That's how I look at it. Well, that's how I feel. Because I feel like he got a raw deal May 25th. And no matter what you think of George Floyd as a person or whatever, we don't know him. We didn't know him. We don't know what was going on that day. We don't even know really what went on at the store, what went on outside, why he was still waiting outside. That's why I say there's some buffoonery going on, because in my logical mind, that if I was to be a crook or pass a bad bill that I knew was fraudulent, there's no way in hell I'm going to keep sitting outside in a car. For what? Taking a chance to go back to the store with fraudulent money is crazy. And I ain't saying that people don't do it, but I'm just saying it was a risk. And then to continuously sit in the automobile, after the first time I was approached about the fraudulent bill, I would continue to sit out there. And then somebody comes back out to my car again to ask me to come back in the store pertaining to a fraudulent bill. See, this makes no sense to me. The story makes no sense to me. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $ Big Angie 129 by Cash App. I accept all super chats during the live, and I thank you for your patience and your time. I'm going to check out of here. I thank you for listening to me today and the information brought to you, and I brought a source. So if you have any arguments pertaining to the information brought in this video, you can gladly call those said news outlets, because they're the ones who brought the commentary, and they are the source. And I want to send my deepest condolences to George Floyd's family, his children, because nobody deserves to die like that. Nobody. whether they were high, drunk, inebriated, mentally disturbed, PTSD, whatever their issues were, or we're all human and we all deserve to be treated as such. And I noticed, see you, Shauna, that he appeared scared to me. George Floyd appeared scared to me. He didn't want to go to jail. Why would he? Whether he was in the wrong or not of passing a fake bill, he didn't want to go to jail. And he didn't deserve to die by the knee of Derek Chauvin. And Derek Chauvin has no remorse. And he proved that in court today because he couldn't even look at the witnesses as they testified pertaining to the passing of the bill and the other man being an eyewitness to Derek Chauvin murdering George Floyd. It is said that if you believe in the scripture that you are to forgive people because God has forgiven you. But Derek Chauvin, I don't wish nothing good to you. Not now, not never. You don't give a fuck. And you showed that May 25th, 2020 on a public street in Minneapolis. That you didn't give a fuck about a black man. And in court, you showed you still don't give a fuck. And all I can say is, have mercy on your soul. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me.